Welcome to Coach's Corner, everybody. The four-wheel drive show here on every Wednesday night. I'm your host, Coach Tripp, along with my buddy, my high school teammate, Billy Pendock. What's up, Billy?
What's going on? What's going on, Tripp?
Yeah. Hey, man, a lot of things going on. Man, NCAA basketball tournament brackets came out. A lot of local stuff. Pensacola State College is on to the national tournament here in basketball. Pete Penna is the coach, friend of mine. So a lot of good stuff, a lot of good local sports stuff going on, good national stuff. Thanks for being here, Billy. You are part of the four-wheel drive show. Blaze Winter couldn't make it. He's at a family event. Timmy Green, who has Lou Gehrig's disease, number 72. As you can see up there, right there is Timmy. And there is Jamie Kimmel, part of the other four-wheel drive. All four guys played at Syracuse and went on to the NFL. Some played in the CFL. Billy, our hearts go out to Timmy, man. He's in a bad situation. Every Monday night I do a show with my teammate from Bama, Kerry Good, G-O-O-D, who wrote a book, Good and Faithful Servant. He's got ALS. And him and Timmy actually got diagnosed around the same time. They both had it 10 to 12 years now, when they both were told by doctors they had 2 to 4 years to live. So, shout out to those guys. I know Coach O'Leary, George O'Leary, both played for George in high school. Billy played for him at Syracuse. Actually, George was his position coach, and Billy Pendock played the longest for George than anybody on earth, 7 years for him. So I know George talks to Timmy and once in a while, and Timmy, I think Timmy's on, what is he on, his 44th book or something like that? He's written 43 books.
I don't know the exact number, but I know he's at least over 35 or 40.
I've read a couple of them. All right, so let's get into today's subject. It's going to be a fun one, and it might be a long show, but we'll part it out 2 parts. These are quotes by famous coaches, and I didn't go through a whole bunch because I've read quite a few books on Vince Lombardi, John Wooden. So we're going to dive in. We'll dive into those coaches' quotes, but I took some of the quotes from my coach, Coach Bryant, and Coach Nick Saban, and you got some quotes too, Billy.
Yeah.
Let's start out with one of Coach Bryant's. Okay, and this is what I used when I coached my kids. And this is the most important one, and then we'll talk about some other ones because we got about 5 or 6 each from each coach. Okay, here it goes. Quote, if anything goes bad, I did it. If anything goes semi-good, we did it. If anything goes really good, then you did it.
Right.
That's all it takes to get people to win football games for you, unquote. Billy, I know that I've seen it over and over, dozens of games that Coach Bryant had, but if anything went bad, he always took the blame.
Yep.
If we had a decent game or something, he would give credit out to players and coaches. But if we had a really good game, it was all about, the players and the coaches. And I think he used reverse psychology, I think, Billy, right? I mean, if things were bad, he wanted to take the blame on, so you didn't have that burden. And if things were really good, he didn't want to take the credit. He wanted to give it to somebody else.
That's a trait. That's a trait that all great coaches that are head coaches, that if you look at everybody that's successful as a head coach, and even a position coach that's gonna pass the credit to the guys around them or people that made it happen, but is always going to step up when he's got to take the brunt of the blame, and that's kind of the way the game has always been.
Yeah, you're right about position coaches need to do that as well. All right, so let's see. You want to give one, or I'll give the next Saban quote.
Let me throw. I sat down and I thought it over when you talked to me about the subject title, and I didn't keep it specifically to coaches. I looked around at some of the things that I drew back on that were quotes from famous leaders, famous, going back centuries in time. And
Right.
I got a good one that probably everybody knows, that everybody's heard, that I've always lived by, and was Nietzsche's quote. That was back years and years ago. That when that which does not kill us makes us stronger. So if you think about, you take that quote, you separate a little bit, and you can take this in any kind of field. If you want to take it in your professional field, if you want to take it in your sports field, every letdown
Personal
succeed to the next time around. So
personal level, right?
Exactly. I mean,
you're not gonna believe this, Billy, but this is the God's honest truth. Guess who told me that yesterday? Berryhill, Mark Berryhill, our captain. Me, you, and him were captains of the Liverpool High School.
Yeah.
That's the exact words he told me yesterday. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
he didn't know we were going to talk about this. You didn't know I talked to him about this.
No. It's and I mean, it's been around for years, and I don't know I don't know the exact timeline, but that's one that I live by. I'll throw another one at you. Now let's switch gears a little bit. I don't think.
Wait a minute. Let me before you give me that one, let me stay on this theme, because Nick Saban has a quote about this theme that you're on.
Okay.
Quote, he says, "Do you want the pain of disappointment or the pain of discipline?" Whoa.
Yeah.
You got to choose. You got to choose whether you want to go through the pain and not get to where you want to go, or do you want to go through the pain and get to where you need to be or want to be?
Exactly.
Yeah. Say, all right, Billy, go ahead. Tip with one.
I got one right from your boy. I don't know if you got it down there, but I got one. I got one from Bear Bryant.
Okay.
I don't know if you got this one written down, but this is one he said years ago. I read it in one of his books.
Oh, good.
You never know how a horse will pull until you hook it up to a heavy load. Think about that.
That's because he had mules to hook up his wagon. He and his mother used to drive into town into Fortis, Arkansas, from Morrill Bottom, where he grew up, and he had to hitch up the horses and the mules to the wagons and to take his mother.
But think about the meaning of that. We've all coached. We've all been around guys, and how do you know which person's going to step up until you put a test on that person?
Yes, exactly.
And think about that. You got big guy, presidents of companies that test people all the time. This is not just sports. It's not just football. It's in life.
Right.
Right.
They test you. The military tests you. The police academy tests you. Everybody has to take tests in order. IBM, you got to take a test to get employment in IBM or whatever company is. You got to go through tests. I'm glad you brought that up, Billy. God's on our side today, because I got a quote from Coach Bryant that is this very similar to that one you just read. Here it goes. Quote, "If a man's a quitter, I'd rather find out in practice than in a game," he says. "I ask all a player has in practice, so I'll know later what to expect. Because of that, we probably don't have as much fun during the week as some teams, but we have more pleasant Saturdays than most."
Yeah. Yeah.
How about that, Billy? He's going to test you in practice. And it might be not as fun as some other teams' practices, but if I know what to expect, that's what he says. If I know what to expect, then I want to find out before game time. And that goes right along with your quote, man. You won't find out what the horse has until you hook him up to the reins.
Exactly.
All right, let's go over to a Nick Saban quote, okay? And I like this one. This is interesting. Quote, "Mediocre people don't like high achievers, and high achievers don't like mediocre people." So if anybody doesn't buy into the same principles and values in the organization at that same high standard, you're never going to be successful.
Right.
He's talking, he's talking about, the process, right? That was the big buzzword for him for the first 10 years of his career, the process. And that's what he's talking about. And he's talking about not only does the process have to be correct, but the people involved in executing the plan, executing the process or the game plan, they have to be all bought in. Because if they're not, they should be gone, and they will be gone. And let me tell you another thing. Coach Bryant had a sign in his office that said, "Be good or be gone."
That's it. There you go. That's as simple as it can be. That's do your best, or we'll get somebody. This day and age, Paulie, we look around, you look at these guys, you look at these teams, these coaches aren't going to wait for a second or third chance. They're just going to look, who's the next guy in line? Just
right.
Send the next guy up here. That's the way our life is now.
Yep. Well, Saban, I like it. I like it. He and then along the same theme, okay, let's go to another one of his. Everyone has 5 choices to make, he says, in life. He didn't talk about football. He talks about life.
Right.
We can be one. We can be bad at what we do. We can be average of what we do, or we can be good at what we do, or we can be excellent at what we do, or we can be elite at what we do. Now, he says to be excellent or elite, you need these special traits. You need special intensity, special focus, special commitment, special drive, and a consistent passion for what you're doing. You got to have all 5.
Yeah. Let's face it, that guy there, that guy there, and I watch, and I'll tell you, I'm not, the only team we really grew up to hate at Syracuse was Penn State, but when I watch him on TV on the Saturday, there's nothing but respect for the guy. I mean, that the Saban's a class act. I mean, let's face it, he's just a class act, So, but Paulie, I got a short one for you.
Oh, good.
One. Pain is temporary. Pride is forever.
Pain is temporary. Pride is forever.
How about that one?
Yeah, that sounds like a Nick Saban quote. Who said that?
I don't know who first coined it, but when you think about the hours invested in the weight room and on the field working on agility, footwork, the pain you go through, is it worth the end of the day with the pride that you feel after you won the ball game?
Exactly.
I mean, Lombardi had some great quotes. I didn't get into all that stuff, but
I know.
You talk.
Yeah, we'll do. Lombardi can have his own show, man. We'll do Lombardi books. I got a few books. Everything's still kind of packed away. I'm starting to unpack everything, but I got quite a few quotes on Lombardi. Let's go to a Coach Bryant quote here. He says, number 2, and this is along those same lines that you just quoted. Okay. He says, quote, "Work hard. There is no substitute for hard work. None. If you work hard, the folks around you are going to work harder."
Right. Yeah.
That's part of being a leader, right?
Right. Part of being successful in any business or any sport.
Yeah.
No substitute. I gotta throw one in from the legendary Bobby Knight. Okay, you ready? You ready for Bobby Knight?
Yep.
A pat on the back gets some things done, but a kick in the ass gets a lot of things done.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do agree with that. I do.
Bobby Knight.
I do agree with that. I believe. I believe there's one more. I think there's one more.
Hold on.
I think a pat. Yeah.
Let me give you an example. I was coaching at CNS probably 15, 20 years ago. And I had the kids in the weight room. I had probably 25, 30 kids, all the linemen in there. And I put a weight on the bar. We're doing maxes. We're doing rep maxes. And I knew what these kids could do. And they're laying down on the bench. And of course, they're repping it out. And I'm watching them. And I stop everybody and I go, we're going to do, I want each guy to do 15 reps. Not 14, not 13. I want 15 reps. And I knew they could do it. And a couple of them laid down and they started out, stopped at 12, 13. And I stopped them again. I go, you know what? The guy that doesn't do 15, I'm gonna stand him up against the wall and he's gonna get a body shot by me in the stomach. I'm gonna give you a frickin' body shot right in the stomach if you don't do 15 reps. This kid that just got off the bench and did 12, he did 15 without blinking an eye. So when you think about that quote,
yeah,
you think about a kick in the ass gets a lot of things done. There's case in point right there. A little bit of stress, a little bit of what's going to happen if I don't do this? Okay, little consequences involved. So
yep. All right, here's one from Saban. If you want to make everyone happy, don't be a leader. Sell ice cream.
Okay. Oh, that's I like that one.
Yeah, that's pretty funny, man.
I like ice cream too. How about
everybody's well, you go ahead. You got one?
Yeah, I got one. How about a little one from Marv Levy?
Oh, okay.
Marv Levy, who was Buffalo Bill
coach. Yeah, Buffalo Bill, great coach.
Football does not build character. Football reveals character.
Absolutely. Huh? I like that. Everybody used to say, this builds your character, it builds your character. Well, if you're really in tough times, it reveals where your character is, because you're going to have to face that fear eventually. And, you do three things. You either fight, you flight, or you freeze when you face your fears.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I like that one. I've heard that one before. All right, here's one from Saban. There are three things we cannot have on this team. We can't have complacency, selfishness, and we can't lose our accountability.
Whoa. Yeah.
Those three things. We can't be complacent, right? Because he always won. I mean, I think he only lost one or two games to unranked teams in his career, Bill. Yeah, you heard me right.
Yeah.
Didn't lose to unranked teams. So you can't be complacent. Selfishness, there's really no place in sports for selfishness. That could be a cancer on the team. So Coach Bryant was big on that too. So any good coach, got to get rid of the selfish players.
It's tough to weed that out, especially when you're vying for a championship every year, because you got so much light on everybody. How you gonna? It's tough to weed out those superstars, to make them humble.
Well, it was, and then lose our accountability. I think he started with that. He started with everybody had to accept the responsibility and accountability. Number two, I think he got rid of the selfish players. And number three, when he started winning, he had to deal with complacency.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Hey, all right, you ready for I'm going back in time now.
All right.
Going back into this was said by a Roman general in the time of Caesar. Okay, you with me?
I love it.
You with me?
Yep.
If it's possible, it is done. If it is impossible, it will be done.
I love those.
What do you think of that?
I love it. Anything's possible, but a lot of the pioneers in this country, whether it be business or sports, other people thought they were crazy. Anything worth going after is going to be hard. Anything, you have naysayers. You know, when I went to Alabama, you know, 90% of the people said there's no way you're going to make it. Well, you know, I'm glad I didn't listen to the 90%. You
Right.
know, I'm glad I listened to the 10% or 5% or whatever it was. And it's the same way with great inventors. They fail. You should actually oh my God, you should read I wish I had it with me, Abraham Lincoln's story. How many times he failed in Congress and running for president, and he failed in business. He lost his girlfriend. He went crazy. I mean, just all sorts of stuff. That failure that he had, but he never gave up. And where would our country be if Abraham Lincoln gave up?
Right. Think about all the great, you know, you think about the great leaders in not, you know, just not in football, but like you said, Abraham Lincoln, you know, you there's and you look at what they had that made them that. It was, you know, and that's what I'm saying, you know, it's just it's in that with every great leader, you know.
Yeah, and I'm going to finish and end with couple of Coach Bryant's quotes, because these two said.
I got one for the end. When you get done, I got one end.
All right. Coach Bryant said, quote, "Little things make the difference. Everyone's well prepared in the big things, but only the winners perfect the little things." All right, that's one. All right, I'm going to give you another one so you can end the show with your quote. Okay, let's see here. Motivating people is a ingredient that separates winners from losers. Coach Bryant was a master psychologist, but he said at the end of his career, quote, "The one that makes you proud is the one who isn't good enough to play, but it means so much to him, and he puts so much into it, he plays anyway."
Right.
That's what I love about him. He could find those guys. I was like that. I wasn't all great talented, but I found a way to play. But he liked his favorite player was Pat Trammell.
Yeah.
He used to say Pat Trammell did not have a beautiful pass, but he completed throws. He wasn't the fastest guy, but he made great runs. And you know, he had a nose for the game. He was just a winner. Coach Bryant said he was just a winner. And Pat Trammell was there at Alabama for 3 years, Billy, and he missed 3 games, and those are the only 3 games that Alabama lost when he was there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I watched. I remember. I watched his biography. I heard about his relationship to him and how he was so close to him, because they said he reminded him of him when he was growing up, you know.
Right.
And it was pretty interesting to listen to, you know.
All right, finish it up with your quote, Billy.
Okay, now this is a quote that we can talk about that I've lived by, and I think I've heard it. This is I think I heard this at the first time I heard it. I think it was from George. I think George said this. I'm not sure, but I remember it's a simple one. It's right to the point, but it's just profound. And he used to say this: "There's a very high price to pay for winning, and it's as simple as you can do." And when I get kids that come to my gym all the time, they come in with their parents. They sit down. I got teams. Everybody talks about winning. Everybody wants to win. And the first thing I say to them is, do you want to pay the price that it takes to win? Because let me tell you, it's 85 degrees in the summer. We're not at a beach party. We're not at somebody's pool. We're down at the park working on footwork. We're in the weight room sweating it out. The price to win is huge. It's huge. So that quote there, it emphasizes everything with sports. If you want to, and Paulie, think about it. I sacrificed back in high school, back when we were growing up. How much sacrifices did you make to play at the next level? Playing at the next level, to go on to play in the NFL, to go on to play in the CFL. The sacrifices, the price you paid for winning.
Yeah. Oh, Billy, I sacrificed my 4 years in a row on the golf team. I could have gone 4 years MVP. I sacrificed that to try to get faster because Syracuse said I was too slow. So I ran track. Billy, let me tell you something with that quote. You know, you're not going to believe who came up with that.
Oh,
There's actually a last part to that. Coach Bryant said there's a high price to pay for victory, but so are the rewards are so high too. Yeah, that's what he talked about. The rewards are really high, but so is the price to pay for victory or pain, or preparing the pain of preparation, because that's really Coach Bryant learned that he prepared well. He was prepared for every scenario. He even had a clipboard for if they won, what he would say to the media, if they lost, what he would say, and if they tied, what he would say, because there were ties back then. He hated ties, and there's two reasons he hated ties, but we'll go into that some other show.
Right.
Billy, that was an awesome show, man. Thanks.
Good job, man.
Yeah, it was good. It was part one. We'll do some more quotes maybe some other time, but hopefully Blaze will be with us next week. Vinny O'Connor is going to be joining us, and maybe we'll talk politics, but I'm trying to get Cedric Burns on, who is Coach Saban's assistant for the last 20 years. So he was there when Coach Bryant was there, Cedric Burns. So maybe we'll get some, behind-the-scenes support personnel for those football teams on the show next week. Billy, I love you, man. Have a great week.
Hey, shout out to Timmy, Blaze, and Jamie.
Yeah, Timmy, Blaze, and Jamie. Everybody get well, be well. Peace on the 4-Wheel Drive Show. Thanks.
Okay,
bye-bye.
Paulie.
See you, buddy. Stay tuned for these great messages. Thanks for watching the show. Have a great sports week, everybody. Talk to you soon.
There's a reason why Hill Kelly in Pensacola is the #1 selling Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram dealer between Jacksonville and New Orleans. While other dealers have taken advantage of a competitive market with higher prices, Hill Kelly has discounted prices to the lowest of the year. And Hill Kelly in Pensacola won't surprise you with excessive charges beyond the selling price. Come see why people from Milton, Pace, Foley, Bay Minette, Daphne, Gulf Shores, Mobile, and beyond are driving to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to buy their next new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram. At Hill Kelly, the bottom line price and your satisfaction are what really matter. So before you sign, check the bottom line and make the trip to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to see what true local ownership can do for you. At Hill Kelly Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Highway 29 in Car City, Pensacola. Or shop online 24/7 at hillkellydodge.com. When it comes to bottom line pricing, nobody beats a Hill Kelly deal. Nobody.
75 years of service in high-tech today. It's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348. High-tech is a term often applied to advanced services and products in today's marketplace. And today, glass is much more than a simple pane of brittle, see-through stuff we hit baseballs through when we were kids. Glass is now a product with unique flexibility in both performance and application. And Pensacola Glass Company is growing right along. That's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348.
Are you riding around in a filthy vehicle? Dirty car no more. Visit Ronnie's Car Wash today to get it shining in no time. They have 3 convenient locations with another coming soon. The unlimited monthly wash packages start as low as $14.95 per month with free vacuums, multi-purpose spray, and towels. Visit them in Gulf Breeze, Navarre, Fort Walton, and soon Crestview. Don't wait, wash today. Be sure to see Ronnie's Car Wash on Facebook to see the latest specials and discounts. You'll be riding and shining in no time.
That's you trying to fix the plumbing yourself to save a few bucks. Doing things yourself doesn't always end well. The same goes for insurance. That's why Auto Owners works with local independent agents who tailor coverage to meet your needs and offer discounts for life, home, car, and business insurance. Because sometimes you need a professional to get the job done right. That's simple human sense.
My name is Steve Reynolds. I'm the manager and owner of Cordova Lanes, and we help keep your mind out of the gutter. Cordova Lanes is part of the community of Pensacola. Being here for 43 years, we've entertained more people than any other bowling center in the city. We self-fund for a living. Cordova Lanes is located at 2111 Airport Boulevard in Pensacola, behind Cordova Mall. Come on out and see us at Cordova Lanes Bowling Center. Thank you.